Everything that once seemed stable collapsed in an instant. Charles Anderson was living an ordinary life, a happy marriage, a beloved daughter, until his wife decided to change the rules of the game. But Charles is not one to accept betrayal. He plunges into a world of secrets, manipulation, and dangerous decisions to regain control of his life. How will this confrontation end with a powerful rival willing to do anything for authority and influence? Discover the lengths a person will go to protect their name and their family. This video will have you holding your breath until the very last second. This is a story that may seem familiar, but each time it's told, a new perspective on events unfolds. My name is Charles Anderson, and for many years, I was certain my life was perfectly arranged, until one day turned everything upside down. I was happily married to my wife, Evelyn, and we had a wonderful 5-year-old daughter. I first met Evelyn in my senior year of college when she was a junior, and there was an instant connection between us. Our love blossomed quickly, and we got married just 2 months after her graduation. I completed my studies in engineering and secured a stable job at a respected national engineering company. After graduating, Evelyn started working as a legal assistant at a law firm, but 5 years later, she decided to leave her job to devote herself fully to raising our daughter, Hazel. For a long time, our life seemed perfect. However, everything changed when Hazel started kindergarten, and Evelyn decided to return to her previous job at the law firm. Looking back, I should have noticed the changes happening in our lives, but I was blind to them, fully trusting in our love. Evelyn's demeanor began to change. She started wearing more revealing outfits, and our intimate moments dwindled from frequent to almost non-existent. Evelyn explained that her long working hours were due to her position with a senior partner, and she insisted that it was a unique opportunity that would improve our financial situation. Despite her assurances, my unease continued to grow. At the law firm's Christmas party, I met her boss, Luke Taylor, and my first impression was extremely negative. He seemed arrogant and condescending, especially toward me. Despite my suspicions, I couldn't pinpoint any obvious signs of an affair between them. Now I see how cleverly they concealed it from me. The tension mounted as Hazel's school year came to a close. On the last day of kindergarten, I planned for Hazel to spend the weekend with my parents, hoping to use this time to reconnect with Evelyn. I imagined a quiet weekend together, dinner, a movie, the chance to rekindle our connection. However, when I got home, I saw Evelyn coming down the stairs in a stunningly short dress, with flawless makeup and hair. "You look amazing," I remarked. "I didn't know we had plans. Give me a minute to get ready. Where are we going?" But Evelyn met my excitement with a smirk I had never seen before. "We're not going anywhere," she replied. "I'm going out, but you're not coming with me." I was stunned, trying to make sense of her words. "What? What are you saying?" She spoke with a cold calmness. "I have a date. This is just the beginning. From now on, there will be new rules." Evelyn informed me that her boss, Luke, would be arriving soon to pick her up, and they were planning to spend the night downtown. "What are you talking about?" I asked, bewildered. "Just relax," she said dismissively. "This is how things are going to be. I'll be out and back by Sunday." I couldn't accept this reality. "You must be joking if you think I'll go along with this. If you walk out now, don't expect to come back." Without any reaction, Evelyn gave me a cold look. "Charles, I will be coming home. We will still be married and living under this roof as a family. I still love you, but I need something different. If you make this difficult, you could end up homeless, possibly even destitute, or worse." Her words hit me like lightning, leaving me momentarily speechless. Just as I was about to gather my thoughts to confront her, the doorbell rang. Evelyn opened the door, letting in her boss, who entered without any show of emotion. "How did he take it?" he asked Evelyn. "Not well," she replied, her tone cold. "I think it's crucial to outline the possible consequences if they refuse to meet the demands," she advised. Luke, who stood before me, wasn't particularly intimidating. He was about my height, perhaps even a bit shorter. "Mr. Anderson, it seems we need to have a conversation," he said, his expression calm. "A conversation?" I retorted indignantly. "What you really need is a solid lesson." He smirked at me. "You can try, but I could likely land a few blows myself before my driver outside intervenes and deals with you. By the end of the night, you'll find yourself in a cell. Now please, have a seat." I glanced at the door and noticed his imposing driver standing right outside. Reluctantly, I complied and sat down. He smiled. "Excellent. Now we can talk like reasonable people." He leaned in closer, his voice taking on an icy tone. "When your wife accepted the offer to become my assistant, certain expectations came with it. Yes, I'm referring to the more personal side of our relationship. We've been involved for about a year and she's getting tired of hiding it." His words struck right to the heart. "Are you saying my wife is cheating on me?" I asked, barely managing to keep my composure. "Not quite how I'd put it," he replied smoothly. "From now on, you and she will have a new arrangement. As my personal assistant, she'll handle her work duties and satisfy my personal needs. You, Mr. Anderson, will remain her husband and the father of your child. The only change is that I'll be taking care of her physical needs." He said it in a tone that brooked no argument. "Most of the time, our meetings will take place at the office or a hotel. Occasionally, when you're out of town, we'll use your home. Specifically, your bedroom." I clenched my fists. "You've crossed a line. I won't stand for this. I'll file for divorce." Luke's expression hardened. "That won't help you. Don't forget who I am. I'm the lead attorney at the biggest law firm in the city. If you file for divorce, I'll ensure you lose everything. Your assets, any alimony, it will all go to her. You'll be financially responsible for maintaining her lifestyle while she's with me. And as for your daughter, I'll make it so you never see her again." A chill ran through me. "What? What do you mean?" I whispered. "You'll be set up," he continued with cold confidence. "Charges in daycare, incompetence in parenting, perhaps something even worse. You'll lose custody, your job will sever ties with you and your family and friends. They won't even be able to look at you. I will destroy you." I sat there numb with disbelief, unable to respond. Luke continued. "So I hope you don't make any rash decisions. If you try to tell anyone, my wife, for example, you'll face every consequence I just described, plus a visit from my driver and his associates. If you try to leave town, we'll find you. So just accept this reality. Your wife is an exceptional assistant." He stood to leave, and in complete silence I watched as my wife walked out of the house with him. Broken and uncertain of what to do next, I turned to alcohol for solace. I woke up alone on Saturday morning with a pounding headache. Evelyn hadn't come home. She didn't return that night or the next morning. When it was time to pick up our daughter, Hazel, I held back tears as I brought her home. Her small voice nearly shattered me when she asked, "Where's Mom?" I forced a smile and told her that her mom was busy with work. The disappointment on her face pierced my heart. When Evelyn finally returned home on Sunday night, I retreated to the guest room, and thankfully she left me alone. I lay there, wondering if I could maintain my composure around her. The next morning I got up early to prepare our daughter for school. Evelyn joined us but barely acknowledged my presence, focusing entirely on Hazel. She tried to kiss me on her way out, but I turned away, unable to participate in the charade. Later that evening, after Hazel had fallen asleep, Evelyn stormed into my makeshift refuge in the basement. "Are we going to have a problem?" she demanded, her voice sharp. I met her gaze, my tone filled with bitterness. "Are you asking if I have a problem with you spending the weekend with your boss? Is that what you want to know?" Her stance shifted, her hands on her hips. "Look, I never wanted it to come to this," she said, sounding almost remorseful. "It all started with innocent coffee meetings with Luke in the mornings." Her excuse did little to ease the pain I felt inside. He enjoyed the unique cream I brought to the office. I'm sure he's eager to share his special cream with you, I remarked. Please, Charles, don't be rude. He has a good style, she replied, her tone sharp. Remember how I always insisted I didn't like sushi? The truth is, I'd never actually tried it. Luke told me it was an amazing aphrodisiac. The first time he convinced me to try it was the same night we became closer. Sorry, Charles, but it was something unique. He even promised to make me his personal assistant. Consider this, she continued. There are many benefits. I'm earning more now. I'll be traveling with Luke, mingling with influential people. This could be an incredible opportunity for us, Charles. Luke even hinted that you'd have time with me again. But there are certain conditions. I felt anger rising. Oh, I can't wait to hear them, I replied sarcastically. She took a deep breath, sounding almost apologetic, and said, You'll only be with me after Luke has had his share, and he assures me that will be often. Wow, how generous of him, I retorted, my bitterness obvious. I get his leftovers along with my own wife. How lucky for me. You can't talk to me like that, Charles. You need to support me in this. This isn't a permanent arrangement. 2, maybe 3 years max. After that, we'll be in a much better position, ready for a fresh start. Do you really believe in this fantasy? I asked in disbelief. In your mind, after the great Luke is done with you, I'll still be here waiting to grow old together, right? What's next? He'll want a child, and I'll be the one raising it. Evelyn looked away, clearly embarrassed. Oh, God. Are you already expecting? I demanded. No, she said quietly. But he wants me to stop using contraceptives in a few months. I told him I wanted you to agree to this new arrangement first. I can't process this, I said, shaking my head in disbelief. Just leave. She reached the top of the stairs and paused to look back. I'll be in our bed, waiting. Once I stop taking the pills, I won't be available to you. You understand that, don't you? It was completely absurd. She had to understand I'd never accept her plan. I moved to the guest room in the basement, but tried to maintain a normal routine for our daughter, Hazel. In the days that followed, I started investigating Luke's past. It turned out he indeed had the influence he claimed. I consulted a divorce lawyer. She warned me that filing for divorce would be a disaster for me. She knew of Luke Taylor and suspected he might even resort to fabricating damaging accusations against me. Divorce wasn't a viable option. Instead, she advised me to gather evidence of my wife's intentions. If I could catch them discussing their plans, it could put an end to all of this. She suggested using a small voice-activated recorder that I could hide in Evelyn's handbag. I bought a discreet recorder disguised as a pen and slipped it into one of her bag's pockets, blending it with her other writing tools. Realizing recording was risky, I began considering other options. I knew I couldn't rely on straightforward legal methods. I went to the library using their computers to avoid leaving a digital trace. From watching countless detective shows, I knew the police often checked browser history. After hours of pondering, a radical idea came to mind. I was desperate. I found an Asian store 3 hours away, known for its unusual items. Wearing an old hat, sunglasses, and sweatpants, I made sure I wouldn't be recognized. When I arrived, the shop was nearly empty, just me and an elderly man behind the counter. I approached the elderly man, holding his gaze steadily. I need tetrodotoxin and dimethylmercury. His eyes sparkled with curiosity, and a sly smile appeared on his face. Problems with an unfaithful partner? He inquired. I responded with a faint smile, keeping my thoughts to myself. Do you have what I need? I pressed. Yes, I do, he said, but it comes at a high price. $20,000 cash only. I assume you'd prefer to keep this meeting confidential. I had already calculated the costs and brought the money, prepared for this transaction. I carefully counted out $20,000 in crisp bills and placed them on the counter. The man disappeared through a door at the back of the room, soon returning with a small paper bag containing 2 vials. Be careful with this, he cautioned. Small doses administered over time should achieve the desired effect. Then he added 2 syringes to the bag. They'll help with administration. Make sure there's no skin contact. Mixing it with something she, or anyone else, might consume is the safest method. I took the bag from him, thanked him, and quickly returned to my car. Both tetrodotoxin and dimethylmercury are highly toxic substances derived from nature. Tetrodotoxin, a deadly poison, is found in creatures like pufferfish and blue-ringed octopuses. While they can be delicacies when expertly prepared, tetrodotoxin concentrations can accumulate in the human body, leading to lethal outcomes. Dimethylmercury, even more dangerous, accumulates in the body over time, reaching a fatal dose with prolonged exposure. In my research, I discovered that both toxins are difficult to detect and could easily be attributed to contaminated seafood if they were found. The brilliance of my plan lay in its simplicity. Evelyn herself, unknowingly, would be the one to administer the poison. She kept a certain type of non-dairy creamer at home, taking a bottle to work whenever she needed it. When I asked her why she didn't just leave a whole box at the office, she expressed concern that someone might take it. This creamer, as she said, was her personal indulgence, but I knew it held a deeper significance as something she shared with Luke. It didn't require refrigeration, and she stored a full box in our cupboard where 11 unopened bottles waited. I carefully selected one bottle and inspected it. Though the cap wasn't tamper-proof, it was sealed with foil and a layer of paper beneath it. I decided to proceed cautiously, choosing tetrodotoxin as the first. The risk of accidental contact with dimethylmercury was too high. I'd read that direct skin contact could be fatal. Using a syringe, I drew out the tetrodotoxin, piercing the bottle's seal through a small opening on the side. Once inside, I slowly injected the liquid, ensuring no signs of tampering remained. I repeated this process with the remaining bottles, one by one. Finally, with increased caution, I moved on to the dimethylmercury, introducing it with even greater care. 2 weeks later, one bottle disappeared from the box. Gradually, a sense of guilt began to build, making me question the drastic path I had chosen. But then Evelyn made my choice easier. That Thursday evening, Evelyn and Luke were engaged in their usual sushi dinner, their weekly ritual of working late, dining, and, apparently, intimacy. I spent the evening alone with our daughter Hazel, tucking her in before retreating to my basement refuge. Later, Evelyn stormed downstairs, her voice sharp. "If you want any closeness with me, you have 1 month," she declared. "Luke says I'm going off birth control in 4 weeks. After that, you're out of luck." A wave of anger surged within me, threatening to shatter the last remnants of my self-control. This was her plan. She was granting me one last month of affection before she intended to have a child with her boss. I let my bitterness spill out. "So the only way I can be with you is while Luke is still sleeping with you?" I challenged her. Evelyn smirked, savoring the sting of her own words. "Exactly," she replied calmly. "And if you want that, you'd better adjust your attitude." "Do you know what my opinion is on this?" "No, I'm not interested. I would never come close to your disgusting self," I replied sharply. "That's your choice, but I'll be in our bedroom," she replied. "It's been a long time since we were close," she said, her tone dripping with arrogance as she ascended the stairs. "You don't even remember what love is," I responded. "Some might say I'm being dramatic and that I should just end our marriage. But given the circumstances, I believed my actions were justified as self-defense. She and her lover threatened the two things I value most, my daughter and my freedom. I knew my behavior was reprehensible, but it was a reaction to the vile threats they had made against me. A week later, I noticed the pack of creams had decreased to 9 bottles. Another month passed before the first symptoms appeared. I kept a close watch on her whenever she was home. Her complexion seemed a bit pale, but what truly satisfied me was observing her hands. During dinner, Evelyn nervously fidgeted with her fingers, twisting her hands in discomfort. The toxins in the creams had started affecting her nervous system, causing disruptions. "Is everything all right, Evelyn?" I asked, trying to sound sincerely concerned. I'm not sure, she replied. My fingers feel numb, like when you lie on your hand and it goes to sleep. It's been like this for about a week, and I'm also a bit short of breath. It's probably nothing, just stress, I guess. Any new sources of stress at work? I asked. A faint smile appeared on Evelyn's lips. No, work is fine, nothing to worry about. 2 weeks later, there were only 8 bottles of cream left. Wow, they must be drinking a lot of coffee, I thought. Evelyn's symptoms became more pronounced: body aches, labored breathing, and a noticeable pallor. On Thursday evening, she came home shortly after work. I was surprised to see her. Why are you back so early, Evelyn? Isn't tonight sushi night? I asked, my tone dripping with sarcasm. I'm not feeling well, and Luke isn't either. He decided we wouldn't stay late tonight. Well, that's unfortunate, I replied. Evelyn looked at me in confusion. You know, that big project you and Luke were about to start? It's hard to meet deadlines if you're both unwell. She leaned closer to whisper so Hazel wouldn't hear. Please don't be rude in front of our daughter. I'm going to rest, she declared. After dinner, I took Hazel to her room to put her to bed. As I walked past our bedroom, I heard Evelyn retching. I stopped and slowly opened the bathroom door. Please don't tell me you're already pregnant. Leave me alone, she snapped. I couldn't possibly be pregnant. I only stopped taking the pills last week. Could you show a little compassion? I feel terrible. Compassion? That's pretty ironic coming from you, I replied. I'm your wife, Charles, and you should respect and be kind to me. I interrupted her. No. The woman I married ceased to exist the moment she took that job with that scoundrel. She was replaced by a hypocrite who deserves not an ounce of my respect. If you think you're going to get kindness, respect, or even a shred of compassion from me, you are sorely mistaken. I turned and left the bathroom, leaving her bent over the toilet. The next morning, Evelyn was still asleep when I took Hazel to daycare. I was supposed to get in touch with her, but I felt apathetic. Around midday, a message appeared on my phone from Evelyn. What do you want? I replied. I need you to take me to the hospital, she responded. What's going on? I asked. It's not me who's unwell. It's Luke. He's had a stroke. I couldn't hold back a laugh. Are you seriously asking me to take you to the hospital to see your boyfriend? Come on. This isn't funny, Charles. They think he might not survive. Realizing that refusing would raise questions, I decided to take the day off. When I got home, Evelyn looked distressed. I helped her into the car and drove her to the hospital. Upon arriving, we ran into Carter Moore, her boss, who quickly took Evelyn aside. It was clear he knew about their secret. Evelyn, do you really think this is the right place for you? His wife is here, he said, ignoring me. Evelyn turned to Moore. Mr. Moore, I need to know his condition. I have to see him. Moore led her to a quieter area, and I followed. You look awful, Evelyn. This situation is unbearable. His left side is paralyzed, and the doctor said his organs are failing, he said. They don't know what's causing it. If they don't act fast, he probably won't survive the weekend. Evelyn burst into tears. Please, Mr. Moore, I have to see him. Can you distract his wife while I go inside? I'll be quick. Moore joined Luke's wife and family in the waiting area, while I accompanied Evelyn to Luke's room. His condition was critical. The left side of his face drooped. He was conscious but couldn't speak. Evelyn rushed to him while I stayed at the door, feeling uncomfortable as she hugged and kissed him, as if oblivious to my presence. Evelyn cried non-stop until a nurse came in and asked her to leave. The nurse helped Evelyn out, leaving me alone with Luke. His eyes widened when he saw me. He tried to speak but couldn't form a word. Luke, you don't have much time left. Before you go, I need you to know that I didn't follow your advice. I wasn't a good person, and I turned down your offer for an open relationship. Don't worry. I'll make sure your wife knows everything that happened between us, you, and Evelyn after your death. Just remember before you go, I'm the one to blame here. There's nothing you can do about it. Suddenly, alarms started sounding from the machines connected to Luke. Medical staff rushed in as I walked out. They managed to keep him alive through the weekend, but he passed away early Monday morning. Evelyn was utterly devastated upon learning of her boss's death, and her emotional state only worsened. That Monday, I picked up Hazel from kindergarten and returned home to find Evelyn in bed. She confirmed that Luke had died. Despite her fragile state, her anger was evident. "I guess you're enjoying this now," she said. "No, Evelyn, I'm not here to celebrate. I'm not going to pretend to mourn his death. This man destroyed our marriage and he got what he deserved. Our marriage isn't over and I can't believe how heartless you are towards Luke. Nothing that happened to him changed my love for you. I told you this was a strategy to secure our future. You always knew I'd come back to you." "No, Evelyn. You're talking utter nonsense. Our marriage fell apart just like your lover Luke. Did you really forget that I was there when you ran to him, proclaiming your love? You were in his arms, kissing him, while I was only a few feet away." When I finally left the bedroom, Evelyn was sobbing. By the end of the week, her health had sharply declined. By Friday, I had to take her to the hospital. The next morning, I met with her doctor. "Mr. Anderson, your wife's organs are failing," he informed me. "Her tests show alarmingly high levels of mercury and another toxin commonly found in fish." "Does she eat a lot of seafood? Perhaps sushi?" I could barely contain my laughter. Yes, she and her boyfriend had been eating quite a bit of sushi in recent months. "Boyfriend?" the doctor asked, looking puzzled. "I assume you know him? Luke Taylor, the man who passed away in our hospital this past Monday? He was having an affair with my wife." "That explains a lot," replied the doctor. "Although he suffered a stroke, her symptoms are remarkably similar to his. I'm afraid her time is running out. Her kidneys failed this morning. Now it's only a matter of time." The doctor led me to her room. Evelyn lay frail, connected to various machines. Her face lit up when she saw me enter. She weakly motioned for me to come closer. Struggling for breath, she tried to speak. Evelyn called me over. "I'm so sorry, Charles. I understand now how much I hurt you. The doctor told me I don't have much time left. I need to hear your forgiveness before I go." Leaning close to her ear, she managed a faint smile as I began to respond. "My dear wife, I pledged my eternal love to you on our wedding day. In sickness and in health, I vowed. You made a similar promise of love and fidelity. You broke those vows and brought me shame. I can never forgive you for what you did to me and our family. I hope you and your lover suffer eternally." A tear slid down her cheek as I stood and left, just as alarms began sounding in her room. In less than an hour, she was pronounced dead. It was painful to tell Hazel that her mother wouldn't be coming home. I grieved for her, not for Evelyn. Evelyn had tried to ruin my life, but I managed to reach her before she could succeed. The doctors suspected that, like Luke, Evelyn had died from poisoned sushi. When I delivered Evelyn's body to the funeral home, they informed me there would be no autopsy or investigation. The police never came to question me. I had taken care to dispose of the extra bottles of cream and toxin vials from our home. While clearing out her belongings, I even retrieved a nearly full bottle of cream from Evelyn's office. Her parents opposed my order for cremation. Their religious beliefs were against it, but I didn't care. I wanted the body of this unfaithful woman to be burned. With her ashes, any remaining evidence would disappear. I should have felt satisfied with my revenge against Evelyn and Luke. But my work was not yet complete. I gathered my records and made copies. My first visit was to Madison, now a widow after losing Luke. The question remained, why confront Luke's wife now that he was gone? I wanted to find out if she knew about the affair and had allowed it to continue. My instincts told me she must have known. Given how blatant Luke had been, it seemed unlikely she was unaware. I turned on my pocket recorder as she welcomed me into her home. "Mrs. Taylor, I'm here to discuss your husband and my wife," I began. But she cut me off. "You can stop right there, Mr. Anderson. I am fully aware of the affair between my husband and your wife. It was far from hidden. This is not the first time my husband has been unfaithful, but it will undoubtedly be the last. While I sympathize with your situation with your wife, I also mourn the loss of my husband. I appreciate your understanding, Mrs. Taylor. Allow me to clarify this matter. You knew that your husband seduced my wife, causing discord between us and with our daughter. By choosing to do nothing, you are equally culpable in this situation. Wait a minute, Mr. Anderson, she replied sharply. I had nothing to do with my husband's behavior. I suppose we'll have to agree to disagree on this, Mrs. Taylor. From my perspective, had you restrained your husband, he might not have felt so free in pursuing my wife. Perhaps my daughter would still have her mother today. Knowing that you were aware of everything gives me some confidence as I proceed with a lawsuit against his estate for the emotional distress he inflicted on my family. Without another word, I left her home. My attorney said our chances of winning a suit against Luke's estate were slim, but I paid little attention to that. I sought revenge. In addition to filing claims against his estate, I planned to hold the firm where Luke and Evelyn worked accountable. Since Luke was no longer around, my lawyer suggested that the firm might be less motivated to protect its interests and would likely fight our claims vigorously. That was until I revealed a recorded conversation between Luke and his partner, Carter Moore. During one of my outbursts, an angry recording captured a key exchange. In the audio, Luke and Carter discussed my resistance to their scheme in Evelyn's office. Carter offered his support in carrying out their plans, mentioning his connections with law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges who owed him favors. They intended to destroy me if I put up any resistance. My lawyer warned that the recording might not withstand legal scrutiny, but that didn't stop us from using it. She arranged a meeting with all the senior partners, including Carter Moore, without disclosing our true intentions, only hinting that it might concern life insurance matters. I intended to surprise them. As we entered their conference room, all 7 senior partners expressed their condolences for my wife's passing, including Moore. They assumed we had come to discuss issues related to Evelyn's insurance policy. Levi Jackson, the managing partner, stood up to speak. Mr. Anderson, we all deeply sympathize with your loss. He continued, we understand that you've encountered difficulties with the insurance company regarding the policy our firm arranged for your wife. I am pleased to inform you that we have taken steps to resolve those issues. He extended a check for $500,000 from the insurance company across the table. I placed the check in my pocket and replied, "Thank you, Mr. Jackson. However, that is not the reason for our visit today. We are here to offer your firm a chance to correct a serious problem before we file lawsuits against each of you individually and your law firm as a whole. You see, Mr. Jackson, your firm collaborated with Mr. Taylor in a conspiracy to lure my wife away from her family and orchestrate my arrest, prosecution, and imprisonment." Jackson's face darkened with anger. "How dare you come here and make such accusations against our firm, tarnishing the reputation of one of our late partners? Mr. Anderson, we will not sit here and tolerate these baseless allegations." "Mr. Jackson," I replied, "we can leave right now. But I assure you that my claims, as you call them, are legitimate. I have evidence to substantiate them. I suggest you consult with Mr. Moore to verify my statements." All eyes turned to Moore, who looked increasingly uncomfortable in his seat. It seemed everyone was waiting for him to deny the allegations, but he remained silent. My attorney played the recording on her phone, highlighting the segment where Moore and Taylor discussed their plans to destroy me. Jackson stood up, nervously glancing between his partners, then back at me and my lawyer. "Mr. Anderson, if you'll excuse me, I need to speak with my partners privately." 15 minutes later, Jackson returned alone. "What are your demands, Mr. Anderson?" I replied, "Your firm will pay my daughter and me $10 million, or we will file suit, and the recording I just shared with you, along with others, will be made public. It's straightforward. My attorney believes the partners may face license revocations, and potentially the rest of you as well. Identifying specific prosecutors and judges could jeopardize your business, especially if you and your partners keep their licenses intact. Jackson asked for a few days to discuss my proposal with his colleagues. My lawyer intervened, stating they had 2 days to make a decision. Otherwise, the entire matter would be made public. On the second day, I received a call from my lawyer, who informed me that they had accepted the offer of $10 million. I've prepared a draft agreement, which I'll send over. As part of the settlement, we agreed not to make any claims on Mr. Taylor's estate. In return, they will dismiss Mr. Moore from the company, using a morality clause, which will result in him losing 90% of his partnership share. I accepted the offer and received the payment. Additionally, I signed a document agreeing not to disclose the actions taken by Mr. Taylor and his firm against me and my family. One truth that Evelyn spoke was that her affair had provided financial stability for our family. Now it's time for me to start looking for someone who can take her place as my wife and the mother of my child. But I believe I'll find a wonderful woman who will be a good mother to my daughter and a loyal wife to me. My friend, and this is the end of the story. If you liked this story, then put your royal like and subscribe to the channel. May the force be with you.